followers know where you are this morning. We just ask you to put out this message. God is ever present at Unity of Joplin. God is ever present at Unity of Joplin. Yeah, let people know what you're up to this morning. And I'm sure that Gordon will be talking a little bit more about exactly what this statement means. But for now, we'd like to start with our first gathering song, The Greatest Thing.
The greatest thing in all my life is knowing you. The greatest thing in all my life is knowing you. I want to know you more. I want to know you more. The greatest thing in all my life is knowing you. The greatest thing in all my life is loving you. The greatest thing in all my life is loving you. I want to love you more. I want to love you more. The greatest thing in all my life is loving you. The greatest thing in all my life is serving you. The greatest thing in all my life is serving you. I want to serve you more. I want to serve you more. The greatest thing in all my life is serving you.
That feels so good. It feels so good to share it with you all this morning. One of my favorite songs. And it's brought to you by our music team, Gary and Jerry, constantly filling us up with wonderful, wonderful music, along with John. You guys are just awesome. We appreciate you. And we appreciate Michael for kind of doing the tech work behind the scenes in these times of COVID-19, making things happen, long distance and so forth. We're also very glad to have Billy with us. Billy Phelps is the trustee of the day. And what that means is, first of all, Billy serves as a member of the trustee of the board, trustees of the board at Unity. And today, his role is to kind of hold the high watch for us in the service. He's on the Facebook page. So if you have any questions, if you need anything, you just shout out to Billy and he'll do his best to help you. And I'm Ann, as I said, I'm helping Gordon. Gordon is our minister and he will be bringing today's meditation and service to us. And we're happy to have you with us. We're going to invite you to take a look at our Facebook page for the link to our website here so that you can give your weekly tithe or love offering for today's experience. And we'll be doing our official blessing a little further in the service today of those
And
gifts.
I just want to interject here on the Facebook page. It's that little button that says contact us.
Awesome.
It'll
Thank
take you
you
to the website.
Okay, great.
And I think I'd like to say hi to everybody who's joining us on Facebook.
Okay.
We have, let's see, Billy and Shayna.
Yeah.
Good to have you on here. Janice, Jerry and Gary, Sherry, Michael Woodruff, Linnea, Eric and Juniper, Carolyn, Julia Bear, Ellen, Mike, Michelle, and anybody else I missed. I can't always see everybody, but we're so glad that you are joining
Yeah.
us live on Facebook.
Yeah.
Technology is so much fun.
Yes.
Everybody
Yes,
here
it
on
is.
Zoom.
Yeah.
Hi, Annette.
We have just a few announcements for you. If you haven't had the chance to experience the Revs Ramblings happening nightly, except Sunday and Wednesday, there are other things happening those nights. But at 8 o'clock, Gordon just kind of does a check-in with us here on the Facebook page, has a little inspiration to share with us, just a lovely nugget of truth to help get us through each day. So feel free to check that out. If you can't be there live, you can catch the replay. Always fun and just nice to have this grounding place right in the midst of everything happening out there in the world. On Wednesday nights, we have Jefferson and Neely and Sam leading us through the Wednesday night word based on our daily word devotional that Unity puts out. So that's always fun to hear their take on the word and again, get a little more insight into the Unity teachings. So check that out as well. Also on the Facebook page, Wednesdays at 8 o'clock. And lots going on with education. Oh my goodness, these classes are fantastic. The Mystics of the Middle Ages, phenomenal to hear how thousands and thousands of years ago, the very truth principles that we know and live were really founded, and to see how they're all interconnected to our Unity teachings is phenomenal. So check that class out. Each one stands alone, so you won't miss anything if you want to start in with us this Thursday. And you can just email Gordon at unityofjoplin.org and find out all the details. The same thing with our How to Be an Anti-Racist course. This is a book study by the book of that name. Again, it requires a Zoom link, but Gordon can set you up and you're welcome to jump in and start that study as well. One of our most popular classes has been Mary Morrissey's The Prosperity Plus program, and we'll be starting a new round of that on September 15th. I'll be facilitating that one, and I believe it's going to be my third time to go through it, but these are foundational principles that we can always remember and use. So please start to prepare for that. It does require a purchase of the materials, so you can start saving up and budgeting accordingly, but you won't regret it. It's a powerful, powerful class. So yeah, lots going on that way. Goodness. Gordon, I don't know how you keep up. My gosh. It's awesome. And yes, after the service today, there is an Earth Care meeting. We'll be getting back on track. You know, we decided, Novella said, hey, we're not going to let a little COVID-19 deter us from caring about the planet, especially when this has been a time that the planet's actually been able to do some healing with everything kind of quieting down for a while. But this is a unity movement worldwide, and we are a part of it. And yeah, we care about recycling. We care about natural resources being preserved. And if you care too, please consider joining this committee of the church. And we will be here on Zoom immediately following the service. So check it out. Yeah, a lot going on. And yes, Gordon, yeah, this is great. Julia, we miss you here, but we have been following your journey, and you're just going to be a fantastic mom. So congratulations.
And we want to send a special blessing to you and your baby, Fiona, who should be joining us sometime in October.
Yeah.
And we are holding you in our hearts and our prayers.
Definitely.
We do miss you.
Yeah, that's a great picture.
Yeah. It was a socially distanced baby shower yesterday.
Yeah, man, that's nice. All right. If you have any questions about Unity or anything that you may hear from Gordon today, you're welcome to hang out with us a little while after the service on Facebook and on Zoom. Gordon will be happy to answer your questions. And yeah, we're just going to have a little virtual fellowship together. We miss being able to do that in person right now, but stick around on your device for as long as you want and have a chance to visit with us and just, as I said, get any questions answered. And yeah, you said some of our Springfield folks are watching. Is that right, Gordon? Yeah.
Yes, it is. We have people, we have been discovering we've had people watching from really all over the country. But we found out yesterday we have some people watching from Springfield. So to everybody in Springfield, I just want to give you a special shout out and thank you for joining us. And those of you I met yesterday, it was so nice to meet you, Ricky, and please forgive me if I say your name wrong. Angel, I believe is how she pronounces it. And everybody else in Springfield, welcome.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. That is one of the benefits of this time and this little metal box. We do get the chance to connect with others around the world. And it's just so really cool to affirm our oneness because we know that that is the case.
Yeah. And you know what? We got people saying hi on Facebook. So I just want to acknowledge them. Sarah. Sarah says hi and Angela says hi. And I see Cammie and Jeanette. And so hi, everybody on Facebook.
Yeah, my friend Janice Franklin's with us. So that's cool.
Hi, Janice.
Yeah. It's great to see you all. Thanks for being here. We're going to go ahead and prepare for today's message. One of the ways that we do that is by just kind of taking a deep centering breath, allowing the chair to support us as we take in the daily word. And to help us do that, Michael, our office manager, is going to share the daily word with us now.
All right, I'll be happy to do that. Bear with me. Okay. I find the principle of peace in the silence. The Hebrew scriptures tell the story of the Lord commanding the prophet Elijah to stand on the mountain before the Lord, for the Lord is about to pass by. As he waits, Elijah fails to find God as he endures a wind strong enough to split mountains, an earthquake, and then a fire. Then Elijah discovers God in a sound of sheer silence. The silence is a state of total non-awareness. When I come out of this state, I may experience inner peace, a peace that passes understanding. I manifest this peace from the principle of peace. Sometimes chaos surrounds me as I find inner peace. Other times, the chaos may be inside me. I persist in my efforts as I confront inner storms, fires, and earthquakes. Like Elijah, I remain steadfast in faith until inner peace is mine. I find the principle of peace in the silence.
Thank you. Thank you. Now Gordon is going to lead us through the meditation that we always do, as well as some special music that's coming, and then our message.
We're going to start with a song.
Great.
When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and sweet silver song of our lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and gone. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk
Yes, that is a beautiful song. We were going to have a different order of service today, and we're still going to have a different order of service. That song is going to play before the meditation, which will be after the lesson today. So you'll get to hear it again. It's a beautiful song, and I see Kim shared that that was her parents' wedding song years ago, so has special meaning for her. It's a beautiful song, beautifully done by Gary, Jerry, and John. So we are blessed. And as I begin, I'd like to just say hi to a couple more people who've joined us. Gwen Brown and I'm guessing the family and down in New Mexico, and licensed Unity teacher Bob Jones. Welcome, Bob. I'm glad you're here. And yes, you can steal any material I use.
I also saw that Cammie is with us on
Hi, Cammie.
Facebook.
Yeah.
And Kim said her friend is watching. So
Yay.
yeah, lots of good folks.
We are many and mighty. And I just want to give you a heads up. I'm probably going to talk a little longer than usual today, because I feel what I have to say is pertinent for this time. Thursday was Friendship Day. It's one of those many holidays that if you look online you can find. This Sunday was supposed to be Bring a Friend to Church Sunday. However, we can't do that because we're not at church. Or are we? It was supposed to be, this service was supposed to be for a more normal time. It was supposed to be in the church building. It's supposed to be a time to familiarize your friends with Unity's basic beliefs. But like I said, these are not normal times. We're not in the church building, and we are being called to engage our beliefs in ways we never thought we would have to, or even could in many cases. So if you're with your friends today, if you're doing a watch party on your Facebook page, and I hope you are, it's kind of fun to see who joins you, and it's easy. I say this to you and everybody who's with you. What we're going to do today is look at this time in our culture, this time in our world, in ways that can only be looked at through the lens of Unity principles. Now, that's not to say that these principles are the sole possession of Unity, and they're, you have to be a Unity member to know what they are. But they are our core principles, and they are universal. They are beneficial. They are available to anybody and everybody, and they are necessary in this time. I don't know about you, but I think it's safe to say that we are finding ourselves in confusing times. I heard somebody say today, or a couple days ago, that it seems as if God himself has given up on humanity. And I thought, how sad, because the truth is, as chaotic as things may look right now, God is here in the midst of every single thing that is occurring. There's an ancient curse that you've probably all heard. May you live in interesting times. I think we can safely agree that we are living in interesting times. What with pandemics and political chaos and economic upheavals and racial issues and whether or not to send our kids back to school and unemployment. These are interesting times. These are very challenging times as well. So the big question so many people are asking right now is, how do I find and keep my mental and emotional balance in the midst of all of this? Which is pretty much the same thing as saying, how do I find God in the midst of all of this. Let's be honest. Many people are not keeping balance right now. We can see it in the reactions to the simplest of situations. We see it in Facebook posts. We see it on the news. We can see that it's affecting everybody, and probably at some point, every one of us in this Zoom room and Facebook page today has had moments where we've kind of lost our balance. I know I have. It's human. It's natural. I've even seen longtime Unity ministers say and post things that are not very positive, and I have done the same. We are all human beings navigating a completely new sea, a sea of change, and that can be very challenging. I've thought a lot about this and was inspired by a talk I heard Reverend Michael Gott give. And one of the things I have come to realize is that aside from the surface things we see going on, the things that are right in front of our face, there's something else profound happening. And that is that there is a lot of energy being moved right now. A lot of energy is shifting. We are shifting as a species to a higher level of vibration. The vibration of the species is shifting at such an accelerated rate that there's bound to be chaos. Anytime energy changes, anytime wavelengths go up and down and frequencies change, it creates chaos. And energy shifts affect different people in different ways. And so in this regard, when we're looking at it through the lens of this, we can understand that no matter how a person may be showing up, how positively or negatively, how appropriately or inappropriately, nobody's really wrong. Some people are not aware of the impact of energy, and so it affects them without conscious realization. Others of us are aware of the impact of energy, and it affects us with conscious and sometimes unconscious ways of responding to it. I don't think anybody was completely prepared for this, the last couple years, and certainly not for the last couple months. And so despite anyone's coping skills or coping mechanisms, this is affecting everybody. And therefore we have to remember that even through the midst of this, God is there. I'm reminded of Psalm 91, and the psalmist wrote, "He who dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide in the shelter of the Almighty." What does that mean to us in this year 2020? What is seeking to be revealed to us? Well, the first thing I probably need to clarify is what is that secret place, that shelter of the Most High? It's really not a secret. The word that was translated as secret meant safe. We abide in the safety of God when we seek it. And we always are in it. We're just not always aware of it. So what is it that we are seeking? What is seeking us? What is struggling to be born in this year 2020? And I don't think this is a year any of us will ever forget. We have those milestone years in our lives. For my generation, it was landing on the moon. It was, things like that. And certainly this one will be stuck in our minds for probably all the rest of human history. Well, there's a spiritual reality. And that reality is that if we are centered in God, then the things and the events of the world cannot harm who we truly are. They can feel uncomfortable. It can even feel painful, but it cannot harm who we truly are. So today's lesson, we're going to delve into psychology and spirituality all in one. Isn't that going to be fun? And it may kind of sound for a while like it's a little bit of a downer, because we're going to look at some of the things that we have to deal with and how we can deal with them. When we know who we are, we can navigate these times, knowing that we are protected, empowered, guided, loved, and cared for through every experience. We can know that not only is all well but all will be well. It will always be well. There's a wonderful book. I don't know how many of you have read it, Emotional Freedom by Dr. Judith Orloff. And in it, she talks about how we can transform our negative emotional experiences into assets. We can use what we are feeling and what we are experiencing right now for our greater good. We can face our fear and develop our courage. We can face our frustration and develop our patience. We can face our loneliness and develop connection. We can turn our anxiety into inner calm, our depression into hope, our envy into self-esteem, our anger into compassion. So I'm going to pick just 3 of these because we don't want to be here all day. Well, maybe we do. I don't know. But I'm going to pick just 3, and we're going to take a look at them. I'm going to look at facing fear and developing courage, facing depression and developing hope, and facing anger and developing compassion. So let's begin with fear, because certainly there is a lot of fear right now, and it's appropriate. There's a lot to be scared of. There's the fear of, am I going to stay healthy? Am I going to catch COVID? Am I going to make it through this time economically? Are my kids going to be safe? The list goes on and on and on. We have fear of political unrest, fear of actions that are being taken by leaders that just don't make sense. We have fear of the other, people who are different from us, maybe different race, different gender identity, different sexual orientation. We have fear of a lot of things. There's the sense of stability that we thought we had has been pulled out from underneath us. Things that we took for granted, like gathering in church on Sunday. Who would ever have thought that in 2020 we would not be gathering in person on Sunday at Unity of Joplin or anywhere else? We took for granted just being able to go visit our family and friends and loved ones whenever we wanted, and hanging out together, going to a movie, going to restaurants, all of that. All of those things we took for granted that were the foundations of our stability have been yanked away. There's a letter that Paul wrote to Timothy that kind of speaks to all of this. Paul, just to give you some background, Paul knew Timothy personally. And he says this, I thank my God, whom I serve, as my ancestors did, with a clear conscience, as night and day. I constantly remember you, Timothy, in my prayers. I am reminded of your sincere faith, which first lived in your grandmother Lois and in your mother Eunice. So obviously he'd known this family for a long time. I am persuaded that faith now lives in you as well. For this reason, I remind you, Timothy, to fan into flame the gift of God, which is in you. For the Spirit of God does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline. That last line is the most important. Fan into flame the gift of God. For the Spirit God gives us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline. In the King James, it was translated as, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but it gives us a spirit of power, love, and a sound mind. When we are in our fear, we cannot feel our truth. You can't do it. Fear triggers the fight or flight mechanism in us, and it shuts off our understanding, our knowledge, our truth. It's still there, and we can intellectually know it is there in our fear, but it's hard to touch it. So what we have to do is find a way, some way to move through our fear back to our faith, because it's always there. We just have to break through that fight or flight mechanism that was programmed into us from the earliest times of Homo sapiens for very good reasons, but we need to find a way through that. And the tool we use to find our way through that barrier back to faith is called courage. Have you ever thought of courage not so much as something you have, but a tool you use? Let's talk about courage for a minute. I talked last night in the Rev's Ramblings about the vibration of words. And courage is a low vibration word because it is about fear. But sometimes the low vibration words are exactly what we need. Low vibration words can build bridges. They're solid, they're strong, they're dense, and they can build the bridge between fear and faith. What courage does, what that power of courage does, that tool, it acknowledges that we are afraid. It says, yes, I am afraid. I do get scared at times. And yes, I do feel my fight or flight mechanisms kicking in. And healthy fear is vital. It's that mechanism that moves us out of the way of the oncoming car, that causes us to grab a child that is getting too close to a stove or a fireplace or something. Fear is necessary. But when fear lingers beyond the momentary experience, it moves us into survival mode. And we are not as functional in the modern world in survival mode as we were in the ancient world. And so courage is what we use to pull us out of that lingering fear, that gets us unstuck from fear, that moves us when we get locked into the, well, what ifs? What if this happens? What if that happens? We activate courage when we begin to act as if truth is true. That's the key that unlocks the door. When we begin to act as truth is true, we may not feel that truth is true in the moment, but we can begin to fake it. We can begin to act as if it is. It is. We know it is, but it may not feel like it is in the moment. And it allows us to begin to let go of those things that keep us in fear, the worry, concern, judgments, those things that keep us small and run down. We've all heard the expression, courage is feeling the fear and doing what we need to do anyway. Feel the fear and do it anyway. That was a bumper sticker years ago. And we can do this because we know the truth of God's presence and power. We know that we are supported to live our lives the way we are meant to be, regardless of what is going on around us. We know that we are empowered to express who we are in power and in glory, even when we are afraid. We can know that we can step into courage. It's not a feeling we wait for. It's not something that's going to come to us. We already have it because it's an action we take. And the more we take the action, the easier it gets. I remember a licensed Unity teacher who eventually became a Unity minister years ago that I knew. She was one of my first teachers, Reverend Charlotte Prosson. And I remember her saying, do the deed and have the power. When we take the action, we also take on the power. So the more we can move ourselves through fear with inspired action, the easier it is to trust that, yes, I am supported. Yes, I am empowered. Yes, I am guided. Yes, I am protected. You know, there's a fear, though, that many are feeling right now. I think probably everybody is feeling it to some degree. It's a particular kind of fear. And it's not a fear of something tangible. It's more of a general anxiety, a generalized feeling that something is off with the universe. Have you felt that? That just, what happened? Did the galaxy make like a left turn into a different reality? It certainly has felt that way the last, actually, I would say for the whole 20th century, beginning with 9/11 and going on from there. It's like we've entered some sort of weird space-time continuum where things are off. And that fear is pervasive. Many people have commented on it that just something is not right or something is different. I would say this, yes, we have entered a new phase, a new energetic field. And when energy shifts, it's extremely chaotic, especially an accelerated energy shift, which I'll be talking a little bit more about later. Judith Orloff wrote that when we move from anxiety into a sense of inner calm, we do so because we realize that hoping and waiting and praying for outer calm is useless. You know, we've been doing that for 20 years now, waiting for this to all be over, waiting for it to go away, waiting for clarity to burst forth. And it will. But we have reached a point, I think, where many of us are saying, okay, I'm going to stop waiting and start doing. That's courage, because that's taking hold of the power that is within us, not the power that is outside of us. And that is really what a lot of this energy shift is about. You know, we've reached a point in human evolution where many, many people realize that there is an inner power. And they're the ones you see making change, working for change. And there are many, many people who have not realized yet that and still try to get their power from outer sources, from governments, from other people. I call them energy vampires, from, you know, other things. And it's not that they're bad. They're not bad vampires. They're good vampires. They're trying to survive just like all of us. And what those who have realized that their power comes from within are being called to do is help everyone else realize that their power comes from within. And so we have to have courage. We have to build upon this. And one of the practices we use is prayer and meditation. You know, you can sit in your chair for just 5 minutes if you're feeling anxious, and your batteries will be recharged. It's so important that we do this, that we take time every day, even if it's just a couple minutes, to sit and recharge. And the more we do it, the easier it gets. It becomes habitual. One of the things we can do to recharge, go out, and we can't hug each other right now, but we can go out and hug a tree. Trees do not carry COVID. You have my word on that. You can go out and hug a tree, even if it's just leaning against a tree. You know, many years ago when I was in my late teens, early 20s, I had a very high stress job in the automotive aftermarket business. Napa, you know, O'Reilly Auto Parts, for those of you in this part of the country. Very high stress, because nobody comes in to buy auto parts in a good mood. They're frustrated because their car's not running, and, you know, parts are expensive, and they 9 times out of 10 don't know what's wrong. And guess what? The poor people working on the counter, they get all of it. And one of the things I learned way back then was when it came time to my lunch hour, if I went to the park and ate my lunch leaning against a tree, the tree recharged me. And that, you know, I remember that tree and I formed a bond. It was a very special tree to me. Maybe I was special to it. I don't know. But just leaning against a tree recharges us, re-energizes us, regrounds us, because nature knows nothing of pandemics. Nature knows nothing of political parties or elections. Nature only knows that it is wholly and completely connected to the life of God. It just is, in oneness with the divine. So even if we just go out for a minute and touch nature, we get into the deeper rhythms of life that go beyond what we are experiencing from our human consciousness. It's not something you can understand with your rational mind, this healing connection with nature. It's something that can be only understood on a spiritual level, only felt on the level of the heart. So those are some things we can do. I have somebody just recently ask me, well, can't we pray this virus away? Well, yeah, I bet we could if enough of us really worked on it. I think we could pray the virus away. It is possible. But one thing I want to remind you of, your sense of inner calm and courage is not dependent on outer conditions. Your sense of inner calm and courage is not dependent on outer conditions. It is not dependent on a virus going away. It is not dependent on political situations becoming calm. It is not dependent on anything outside of yourself. You don't need the virus to go away for you to find peace. Perhaps one of the great lessons we are learning in this is that we are not children of fear. We are children of God, and God is within us. Remember that most, if not all, of the things that you are worried about or afraid of are not happening to you. They are just happening around you. It's false evidence when we take it in. You've all heard that acronym. FEAR stands for false evidence appearing real. We don't place our sense of well-being in the conditions. We place our sense of well-being in our groundedness in spirit, in our hearts. The true evidence of your truth is within you. It's always been within you. It will always be within you. So a little bit about depression. I'm a little bit about fear. What about depression? Many people are struggling with depression right now. I mean, extroverts. This has got to be hard if you're an extrovert. People who are huggers. This has got to be hard. Even introverts. This is hard. Everybody, this is difficult. And there are epidemic levels of depression in our society right now. And I'm going to jump up for just a second and close my office window because my neighbor is connecting with nature by cutting their grass. There. There is a certain zen to cutting the grass. When it's not beastly hot, I kind of enjoy it. But anyway, back to depression. What is depression spiritually? There's many causes for depression. Some of them are chemical. There's other causes. But spiritually, depression occurs when we are not in alignment with our purpose. And a lot of people are feeling right now that they have been kicked out of alignment with their purpose. Musicians, oh my gosh, I have a lot of friends who are musicians, and this is difficult. Performers, this is really hard. So when we're not in alignment with our purpose, we're not able to give of our gifts the way we are used to, and it's easy to feel depleted. Orloff recommends that we face our depression. You notice she says, face all of this, embrace it, face our depression and build our hope. You cannot build your hope, though, without facing depression. And so the first step in doing that is seeking the cause. And it will probably be one of those three things I mentioned above. Not being able to give your gifts, not being able to be in alignment with your purpose, not being able to give of yourself. Remind yourself of this. These times have come to pass. They have not come to stay. We've all heard that. It shall come to pass, or this has come to pass. Yes, but it has not come to stay. Believe it or not, everything we are experiencing in this moment will pass. The plagues of the Middle Ages passed. The Spanish flu of the early 1900s passed. Depressions come and they pass. Every political upheaval comes and it passes. We will gather in our church again. We will hug. We will celebrate together. We will be able to enter a store without putting a mask on or having to avoid people who aren't wearing their masks. We will fill in the blank. Whatever it is you're not able to do right now, you will be able to do it again, I promise. I don't know when, but you will. Everything in this world, everything in this universe is temporary. Everything. 2020 will end. Not soon enough, but it will end. Depression is temporary. And if you find it is persisting and it is so bad you are considering maybe harming yourself, call a doctor. Talk to somebody. There are medical things that can be done. There are interventions that can be done. But if it's more of the garden variety depression that we all feel at some point, talk to somebody. Call me. Give me a call, 417-680-6262, and I'll talk with you. Find your courage. And one of the ways you can find your courage is by talking to somebody. It helps to have just somebody listen. Move through your fear of what someone might think of you for doing that. We're all experiencing some of these same things. Every single one of us, the most enlightened ones of us. I heard Michael Beckwith say the other day that he gets down sometimes. Michael Beckwith, wow. So that kind of gives all of us permission to, yeah, okay, some days it just is. There's a bumper sticker I heard about, and I've actually seen it, and says, "What other people think of me is none of my business." Ever heard that one or seen it? When you're really struggling to get back your sense of hope, just talk to somebody, anybody, but talk to somebody who can be empathetic, somebody who will really listen. Don't call up somebody who will say, "Well, let me tell you how I feel," or "Let me tell you how I felt." Talk to somebody who will listen without judgment. Another thing that studies have shown is a major catalyst of depression, the garden variety, and even more serious forms of depression is lack of movement. Lack of movement. And there's several levels of that. Right now, we're stuck in this change part. I call it the hallway. When one door closes, before the other one opens, it's hell in the hallway. And we're definitely in the hell of the hallway in this moment. And it feels like things are not moving. Oh gosh, they are moving. It may not look like it all the time. It may look like we're stuck in the same stuff day after day, but things are moving faster than we can realize. But if it feels like that, understand that feeling of lack of movement can cause depression. Lack of physical exercise, lack of body movement can cause depression as well. So go out and do something. Your brain is wired to be more hopeful when the body is doing something. It may be just taking a walk. It might be cutting the grass. It might be doing the dishes. It might be sweeping the floor. Who knows? Moving the body, we know, releases endorphins. It doesn't have to be going to the gym. In fact, I would say probably a good idea to avoid the gym at this moment. Go out and do like my neighbor, cut the grass. Maybe you'll cut mine. But there is something I want you to know about all of this, if you haven't already heard it. Sadness and grief are perfectly natural. In fact, they're requirements for a healthy emotional life. Certainly I feel sadness at times. We can't look at the catastrophic loss of life and not feel sadness, not feel grief for those people who have lost loved ones. I feel sadness when I see the ignorance of so many people and the potential harm they are doing to themselves and their family. You may be grieving the loss of a job, the loss of being able to be with loved ones, not doing the things we would be normally doing. Think about our young people. I talk to my grandson and other young people who aren't able to do the things they would be doing, going out and playing together. Our high schoolers going to graduations or proms or having their friends over for birthday parties. Not being able to go to school, although I have to confess, I probably wouldn't have been too upset about that when I was a kid. But I know there are kids out there who are feeling that loss. And so, we feel loss, we feel grief, and sadness is appropriate. Even Jesus acknowledged how appropriate it is to feel our feelings when he said, "Blessed are they who mourn, for they shall be comforted." Yeah, do it. You will be blessed when you do it, when you embrace it, when you acknowledge it. So we can have hope by acknowledging these feelings. We then ignite the fires of hope. Hope is the tool, like courage was a tool. Hope is the tool for depression. Hope is what we use to transmute these feelings. One of the things I have heard in Unity, I've heard Unity ministers say it. Well, if you have faith, you don't need hope. I disagree. I have always disagreed with that statement. Hope, and I love the way Michael Gott said it. Hope does not replace my faith, but it supports my faith. I'm going to say that again. Hope does not replace my faith. Hope supports my faith. It inspires my faith. It allows me to envision what can be. And then faith allows me to create what will be. You might want to write that down. I'm going to say it again. Hope, I got to find it again. Hope, where did it go? Hope allows me to envision what can be. Faith allows me to create what will be. Hope gives me the blueprint. It gives me the pattern to build for. And so the last one we're going to talk about today is anger. There's a lot of anger out there right now. Many of us have felt it. Many of us have fallen into it. There's a strong connection between sadness and anger. And perhaps that's why we're seeing so much of it right now. You know, it is said that sometimes depression is anger turned inwards. Anger that has not been expressed in a healthy way can certainly lead to depression. But also depression that is denied or not allowed to be felt can come out as anger. So when you see angry people yelling about wearing a mask, or yelling about social distancing, or yelling about, you know, which race should be the dominant race, no race should be dominant. But when you see people yelling about these things, ask yourself, are they really angry or are they sad? Are they grieving? You know, I think sometimes a lot of what we see being expressed as anger over really very trivial things is more of an anger and a fear and a sadness over what feels like to people as a loss of personal power. You know, if you're not getting your power from in here, if somebody tells you you have to wear a mask, it feels like somebody's taken your power of self-determination away. I'm a Taurus. Don't tell me what to do. I won't do it. I've grown over the years, but I still feel that. It's part of it was part of my early nature. Tell me to do something and I won't do it. Tell me I can't do something and oh, you bet I'll do it. So a lot of it is that. Some of it also is the way we program people in our society, in our culture. You know, we've all heard about the angry male. And why is that? Well, it's because for too long, males were taught to stuff our feelings down, to not express grief or sadness, but anger. It was okay to express anger. It's okay to show up angry. And we've forgotten that the point of all of our emotions is about being human. Every single emotion a human being has a purpose. You know, if God created everything, then God created emotions as well. They all help us when they are acknowledged, when they are expressed in healthy ways, and anger expressed appropriately is healthy. Unity author Clara McClellan wrote that anger is the border patrol. It's our personal border patrol. It's there to protect our personal space and boundaries. And it warns us when those are being violated. You know, in ancient times, it warned us when the saber-toothed tiger had entered our perimeter of safety. It angered when an enemy has entered our perimeter of safety, and it kicks us into that fight or flight mode that's about keeping ourselves alive. The ego takes full charge. That was appropriate in ancient times. Now, anger is still doing the same job. It's warning us when, oh, my core beliefs are being threatened. My sense of safety is being threatened. You know, put up the barriers, put up the walls. Healthy anger, though, stops and says, wait a minute. Okay, is this really a threat? Am I in danger physically, or are my beliefs being challenged? Healthy anger also allows us to say, okay, yes, my beliefs are being challenged, and allows us to state our truths in healthy ways. It allows us to stand strong in what we know is true for us. It allows us to be authentic. It does provide protection. But in our culture, we're seeing anger at a level we haven't seen before. No matter where someone is on the spiritual spectrum, no matter where everyone is on the political spectrum, it seems that everyone is mad at somebody else about something. And we see it over some things as simple as wearing masks. We see it when a business says, well, you can't come in without mask, or you can't come in without a mask. I experienced somebody who got angry at me because I won't open the church. And I'll just remind you, it's not my decision alone. And we are weighing all the different factors. And I understand the anger. I want to be in church too. I really, really do. I so miss talking to you guys in person, and giving you a hug. I'm a hugger, and I can hug Novella and the dogs, and and that's wonderful, and yeah, and thank God I can do that. But what about people who are single? Who do you hug? So I understand the anger, and I understand it is healthy. It is normal and understandable to react to boundary violations, because it feels like something I care about is being taken from me. Something you care about is being taken from you. And as I said, for many people, it's a feeling of not having any personal power, about their own personal power of self-determination has been taken away from them. And what do we do with that? We remember that our power is in here. It's in here. The most effective change agents out there are people who understand that their power is within. It's also people who understand that spiritually, we are playing the long game. Change isn't going to happen tomorrow. We're not going to walk out of this service today and music will come down from the heavens and everything will be fine because we did our work here at Unity. I wish it was that easy. We're playing the long game. We're not going to burn out. Father Richard Rohr wrote that he has noticed that so many people who are trying to bring about social change are doing it on the fuel of their own outrage, and that is toxic. He wrote that years ago, and that's why he founded the Center for Action and Contemplation. That was one thing that so impressed me about that work, was that it wasn't just the center of action, nor was it just the center of contemplation. It was both and. Because he felt it was not beneficial or even hopeful of success to do one without the other. Contemplation tells us what to do. Action is the doing it. If we just go out and take action, it generally will devolve into riots and mayhem and be not effective. If we just sit around and contemplate, we'll have great ideas, but we won't be doing them. It's not an either or, it's a both and. He went on to say that action that is spiritually guided brings about change, and change is best affected by those who develop inner connection, an inner sense of calm based on the influences and ideas received in contemplation. One of the things I've noticed about myself in this time, and I suspect we all do it, at least I hope so, is I have to be careful of taking sides on issues. Oh man, that is so hard not to do, because I do have my opinions and you have your opinions. And it's so easy to look at a post on social media and say, oh, that makes me so mad, I'm going to share it. Okay, how is that really helping? I've done it, guilty. And I know all of you have been guilty of it in one way or another, whether it's on social media or something else. I fell into it when I found out that these police, or whatever you call them, were sent to my hometown in Albuquerque, supposedly because there were riots. I'm from Albuquerque. I have family and friends there. There were no riots. And I got angry and I posted some things that may not have been a very high vibration. So, but also want to speak my truth. And it's hard to do sometimes. It's hard to do both. We're all struggling with that. So, the question I ask is, how do I transform that anger I feel into compassion? Well, first I need to know that it is not helpful to dehumanize the other person, the other people. It's so easy to hate something. It's not really easy to hate someone. That's important. If I am forced to see someone as a human being, it doesn't mean I have to agree with them. It doesn't mean I have to condone what they're doing, but I can have compassion for them. And I find that with a compassionate view, I am more effective in fostering change. One of the hallmarks of higher evolution in consciousness is the ability to hold multiple perspectives at the same time. Michael Gott said, a hallmark of genius is to be able to hold conflicting ideas in the mind at the same time. So I'm going to end today by asking you to join me in an experiment. Join me in this. I call it the Great Experiment. The Great Experiment means learning and striving to move beyond us and them. Move beyond blaming. We cannot blame ourselves out of this mess. We can't blame our politicians out of this mess. We can't blame the white supremacists out of this mess. We can't blame the Black Lives Matter people out of this mess. We can't blame the gays out of this mess. We can't blame the straights out of this mess. We can't blame out of the mess. It's not possible to do. We have to move beyond blaming. We have to move beyond us and them. How do we do that? We see each other as human beings. You know, there is no deeper disease of social injustice. There are no deeper diseases than social injustice, generational poverty, inequity of financial good, racial injustice. These are things that are happening in our culture that we have to address, that are screaming to be addressed. But what if we can address them from the place of unity principles? What if we can have compassion and engage them from that place? Martin Luther King wrote that riots and unrest are the voice of the unheard. And if we do not listen to the voices of those uprising in the streets, it is at our own peril. As spiritual people, we are being called to bring our common humanity, our unity principles, our compassion to this time. We are the ones the world is looking for. We are here at this time, in this moment, for a specific purpose. And that is to co-create that world that works for all. I shared with you earlier the acronym for fear, false events appearing real. There's another acronym that I really like. Face everything and rise up. Face everything and rise up. Judith Orloff says that we seek to free ourselves from our fear, our depression, and our anger, when in fact, we become free through our fear, our depression, and our anger. When we are free to feel these things, we are free to deepen the spiritual truth of who we are. I'm going to close with a letter that was written shortly after 9/11. It's still pertinent. In fact, I would say it's more pertinent to this now moment. And I did not write the author's name down. I apologize. But I want you to hear this letter as if you are hearing it from the author's heart, from my heart to your heart. Mi estimados queridos, my esteemed ones, do not lose heart. We were made for this time. I have heard from so many of you recently who are deeply and properly bewildered. You are concerned about the state of affairs in our world right now. Ours is a time of almost daily jaw-dropping astonishment and often righteous rage over the latest degradations of what matters most to civilized, visionary people. You are right in your assessments. The luster and hubris of some have aspired to while endorsing acts so heinous against children, elders, everyday people, the poor, the unguarded, the helpless, is breathtaking. And yet I urge you, I ask you, gentle you, please do not spend your spirit dry by bewailing these difficult times. Specifically, do not lose hope. The fact is, you, me, all of us are made for these times. Yes, for years, we have been learning, practicing, been in training for, and just waiting to meet on this exact plane of engagement. I cannot tell you often enough that we are definitely the leaders that we have been waiting for, and that we have been raised since childhood for this moment in time. I grew up in the Great Lakes region and recognize a seaworthy vessel when I see one. Regarding awakened souls, there have never been more able crafts in the waters than there are right now across the entire world. And they are fully provisioned and able to signal each other as never before in the history of humankind. I would like to take your hands for a moment and assure you that you are built well for these times. Despite your stints of doubt, your frustrations in writing all that needs changed right now, or even feeling that you have lost the map entirely, you are not without resource. You are not alone. Look out over the prow. There are millions of boats of righteous souls on the waters with you. In your deepest bones, you have always known this is true. Even though your veneers may shiver from every wave in this stormy royal, I assure you that the long timbers composing your hull and your rudder come from a forest greater. That long-grained lumber is known to withstand storms, to hold together, to hold its own, to advance regardless. In any dark time, there is a tendency to veer towards fainting over how much is wrong or unmended in the world. Do not focus on that. Do not make yourself ill with overwhelm. There is a tendency, too, to fall into being weakened by perseverating on what is outside your reach, by what cannot yet be done. Do not focus there. That is spending the wind without raising your sails. We are needed. You are needed. That is all you need to know. And though we meet resistance, we more so will meet great souls who will hail us, love us, and guide us. And we will know them when they appear. Didn't you say you were a believer? Didn't you say that you pledged to listen to a voice greater? Didn't you ask for grace? Don't you remember that to be in grace means to submit to the voice greater? You have all of the resources you need to ride any wave, to surface from any trough. Ours is not the task of fixing the entire world all at once, but of stretching out to mend the part of the world that is within our reach. Any small, calm thing that one soul can do to help another soul, to assist some portion of this poor, suffering world, will help immensely. It is not given to us to know which acts or by whom will cause the critical mass to tip toward an enduring good. What is needed for dramatic change is an accumulation of acts, small acts, adding to, adding more, continuing. We know that it does not take everyone on earth to bring justice and peace, but only a small, determined group who will not give up building the first, the second, or the 100th ship. One of the most calming and powerful actions you can do is to intervene in a stormy world and stand up and show your soul. Show your soul on deck so that it shines like gold in the dark times. The light of your soul throws sparks, sends up flares, builds signal fires, causes proper matters to catch fire. To display the lantern of soul in shadowy times like these, to be fierce and to show mercy towards others, both are acts of immense bravery and greatest necessity. Struggling souls catch light from other souls who are fully lit and willing to show it. If you would help to calm the tumult, this is one of the strongest things that you can do. Yes, there will always be times when you feel discouraged. I too have felt despair many times in my life, but I do not keep a chair for it. I will not entertain it. I will not allow it to eat from my plate. The reason is this. In my utmost bones, I know something, as do you. It is that there can be no despair when you remember why you came to earth, when you remember who you serve, when you remember who sent you here. The good words we say and the good deeds we do are not ours. They are the words and the deeds of the one who brought us here. In that spirit, I hope you will write on this your wall. When a great ship is in harbor and moored, it is safe, there can be no doubt. But that is not what great ships are for. And so I invite you to close your eyes and take a breath. And as we walk on in this life, we walk on through the rain, breathing. Breathing, we walk on. We walk on through the storm. We walk on through the gale because we are strong and mighty. We are anchored in the truth of who we are. Our lantern is our own Christ light. And we open the shutters of that lantern so that it shines brightly before us to light our way, around us to illumine those with us, and behind us to draw those near to us and kindle their lights. No storm, no rain, no gale, no turmoil, no tumult can hold us back. We walk on. We walk on.
When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm is a golden sky and the sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your wheels be tossed and gone. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone. When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm is a golden sky and the sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and gone. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll
as we walk on, our light shining bright, we see that light spreading from soul to soul, touching all of those who are with us in this moment via Zoom and Facebook, all of those who are with us in meditation, in prayer, in consciousness. The sunrise is coming. The clouds are parting, and we walk boldly toward a new day. And that is the truth. Aho.
Thank you, Gordon. That was really powerful. And I have to tell you, I have been, one of those people this past week, especially kind of operating from fear.
We all do
having
it.
a temporary lapse in memory of the truth of who I really am. So thank you for the reminder. And we want to give thanks for not just this expression today at Unity of Joplin, but for all of our gratitude for being a part of these times. And I wrote down to do any one calm thing you can do. We can handle that, right? Just
Yep.
one
One
calm thing. And one of the ways we can express that is through our giving and our receiving of our prosperity and our good. And so let's bless these gifts that we have to share today, knowing the power they carry for the good work they will do. So if you'll join me, in a universe overflowing with the allness of God, all of the needs of Unity of Joplin and those we serve are bountifully met. From every direction, known and unknown, expected and unexpected, our abundant good is here now. We say, thank you, God. Thank you, God, because these tithes and offerings are dedicated to the will and work of Spirit through Unity of Joplin and for the highest good of all. And we are so grateful. Again, if you would like to share your gift, you can go to our webpage, unityofjoplin.org. There's a donate button in the upper right-hand corner. I think Billy has put the link into our Facebook chat. Easy, secure, simple. One calm thing you can do. And if you're visiting us for the first time, we do have lots of visitors today. We hope you've enjoyed this little glimpse as to what Unity is all about. And we hope that you'll continue to check us out. Again, welcome to join us every Sunday morning right here at 11 a.m. Central Time through our Facebook page and our website. As you heard in our announcements, there's always something going on here, and we welcome your participation. If you have any questions, feel free to hang out after the service for a little virtual fellowship. And we especially appreciate our children in physical form right now, but also that inner child in each of us. And we bless them together. So please join me. Children, you are a perfect child of God, and God and I love you just the way you are. And we send all of our children special blessings in this time of confusion about school and when it's going to start and all of that. We just know that your hearts and spirits are being guided. And it's the first of the month. I cannot believe another new month is already here. It's the month of August, and we are celebrating, as we do every month, the first Sunday of the month, our birthdays. I know today's Neely's birthday.
Yep, I was just going to say that. It's Neely's birthday
Yeah,
today.
yeah.
Yep.
I
They're
saw
on the
that.
road coming home. So
Yeah, yeah. So
Happy
anybody
birthday,
else have
Judy.
an August
Anybody else?
birthday?
Jerry Markham.
Oh, Jerry.
Oh, yes.
Happy birthday,
Yes,
Jerry.
Jerry. That's good. Yeah, just drop your birthday into the chat. If it's in the month of August, we want to celebrate you. And we do that with our birthday song. Let's go.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear lunatic. Happy birthday to you. God is blessing you now. God is blessing you now. God is blessing you. You are wonderful. God is blessing you now.
Thank you.
I can't wait to hear that little piano in person again.
I know, I was just thinking that. Yeah,
Those
Jerry just
flourishes.
does that beautifully. And we have a new song for the month. What are we doing, Gordon?
We're just doing a different song today, just because we
Okay.
wanted to shake things up.
Why
And
not?
it's an
And then we'll
appropriate
do
song.
our prayer protection.
Yep.
There's a bright golden haze on the meadow. There's a bright golden haze on the meadow. The corn is as high as an elephant's eye, and it looks like it's climbing clear up to the sky. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way. All the sounds of the earth are like music. All the sounds of the earth are like music. The breeze is so busy, it don't miss a tree. And the old weeping willow is laughing at me. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way. Oh, what a beautiful
Lovely. And our prayer for protection, Gordon, if you'll lead us in that.
I will once I unmute. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. For wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Amen.
Amen. Amen. I was just noticing on the Facebook page, everyone appreciating your talk today, and it had me thinking. I'm hoping maybe you and Michael could work together to get that letter posted on the Facebook page.
Oh,
I know
yeah, that's
personally,
easy.
I'd love to be able to refer to that in my meditation time every day. It was so powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a power. It's actually, there's a few parts I cut out because it was really long.
Yeah. But it was very comforting.
We'll post the unabridged copy on it.
Okay. Thank you all for joining us. If you'd like to stick around, please do. If you need to run, we understand that, and we wish you the very best week ever. So thanks for joining
Amen.
us.
All right. And so this is going to be who all is going to be in the Earth Care meeting?
I am.
Okay,
I
Ann,
am.
Novella,
I'll stick
Tim?
around.
and Jim. Okay. I will
Okay.
create a breakout room in a minute here.
Okay.
I'm gonna wait just
And-
a minute.
Is Marilyn George on or Marilyn Wiley?
She's on the Facebook, but she's not on the Zoom.
Okay, so
I can I'll send Marilyn, George, and who else?
Marilyn Wiley and Kim Barron,
Well, Kim's here on Zoom.
Jay.
and I don't think Jill's been attending, but she was on the committee.
Okay. I'll send
about Jay?
Marilyn and who was the other one?
Susie.
Susie. I'll send Marilyn and Susie a link.
And Janet.
And Janet. I don't see her, but I'll send it.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, Michael, I put a, good morning. I put a chat in for you for the scripture that came from
Okay.
Elijah. Hey, Michael, I put a.
Yeah. Yeah, you asked what scripture that was from. I didn't actually quote a scripture, but we reference a story in 1 Kings. Yeah. 1 Kings 19:11. You asked what scripture that was from. I didn't actually quote a scripture, but we reference a story in 1 Kings. Yeah. 1 Kings 19:11.
Kings 19:11.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
And Gordon, I apologize. I realized I got ahead of you on the slides.
That's all right. It worked.
And then
It was a little tricky today.
yeah.
Gordon, Kim is also on the Earth Care team.
Yeah, I got Kim.
Okay.
I haven't created the breakout room yet.
Okay.
Um,
I'm gonna run get a glass of water. I'll be right back.
okay. Daryl, I see that Candy invited you. If you are still watching on Facebook, I need the link for tonight's how to be an anti-racist thing. I don't know if you sent it or not, but I need the Zoom link. And also what time it is.
Gordon, did you say tonight?
Well, it's a different group and they've invited me to sit in on it.
Oh, okay, I see. Thank you.
And we'll still have ours tomorrow.
Candace, we missed you last week. Can't hear you, hon. Turn your
Muted.
unmute your mic.
Uh,
Unmute. There you
Yeah.
go.
I'm
Um,
going to break out that room.
as I told Gordon, I was on vacation with the family. We took 2 carloads and went down to Orange Beach, Alabama. It was a good time. It was a good time.
Good, good. It's always nice to get away with family.
Yes. Yes. My granddaughter has 5 foster children, and so we were just getting acquainted with the 2 little ones that were so cute that had been with her for a week. I had a lot of foster children when I was younger, and on the drive back, we got the word from the judge that the judge said that the children needed to be moved to Kansas. So it was a big shock to bonding, with sweet little ones for a week. But I'm glad that our family was able to help them.
So you
And
were only able to keep them for a week and the judge ordered them to Kansas. Is that what you said?
Yes, yes. The 3-year-old's mother is only 20 years old, and she's still in Kansas. She was invited to come and pick her children up, but anyway.
Now, you're talking about a time in your life when you had foster children?
No, no, my granddaughter and her husband are 25, and they have 5 foster children through the Jasper County
Okay.
welfare. Yeah, right.
So the kids in, I forgot where you said you were, but those children were ordered back to Kansas.
Yes, the children had been found wandering around the Walmart parking lot in Joplin by themselves. And so they were picked up on an emergency basis, given to my granddaughter, who's been a foster parent for about 2 years.
Oh, I see. Right.
And my first 3 foster children were teenagers in 1976 when they walked in our home in Joplin and said, "Hi, Mom and Dad." And they were so surprised that these children called them Mom and Dad immediately too. I mean, the girl was only 3 years old, but it was an 18-month-old, and so we had 3 children in diapers on the trip to the beach.
I must have been a hoot.
Yeah.
I need to interrupt for just a second. I have Ann and Kim.
Okay.
And Jim. I have created the breakout room. You can go into it anytime you want.
Okay, thank you. See you guys later.
Bye.
Nice to see you, Candace, Michael, Ann.
And I'm trying to figure out
Thank
how to
you.
invite those others that were not on the Zoom.
A good session.
It was,
Good
yeah.
talk today.
All right. And do we still have people on Facebook? It looks like we do. All right. Marilyn and Marilyn George and who else was in there? Janet, if you're on there, I cannot get you into the breakout room unless you sign into the Zoom meeting. So I can't send you, if you sign into the Zoom meeting, to the regular Sunday service, I can then move you into the breakout room for Earth Care. But there's no other way to get you in there without you doing that. So. Okay. See if I can send, I got to reply to, somebody's asking me a question on chat. If I can find it on chat. Okay, let's try this.
Well, since the room was already open when I got here, I assume we're co-hosting and that I could leave.
Yeah, you can leave.
Okay.
Wish. All righty. You all have a good week.
Thank you.
And I will see you all tomorrow in the evenings. Who knows when? Candy, I think you're muted, but have a great week.
Tomorrow at 2 o'clock.
Tomorrow at 2, yep.
Okay.
I'll be there. Everybody on Facebook, you all have a wonderful week, and I look forward to seeing you again. Namaste.